Your armor is killing you. Why peace is the most dangerous thing you can choose. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Tasha Watlington, a woman whose work is not just shifting conversations, it is dismantling the very foundation of how we have been taught to survive. Tasha is the voice behind This Is Healing podcast, and she is leading a quiet revolution for high achieving Black women who have spent their entire lives believing that exhaustion was the cost of excellence, that struggle was the only proof of strength, and that rest was something you earned only after you had given everything you had left. Tasha is not just offering wellness tips, she is offering liberation. She is helping women unlearn survival mode and step into something far more radical: the freedom to rest, to receive, and to redefine strength on their own terms. Her impact is profound, her message is urgent, and today I want to share with you the insights she offered that have the power to change not just how we work, but how we live, how we love, and how we finally breathe. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you allowed yourself to rest without feeling guilty? When was the last time someone offered you help and you said yes without immediately thinking you owed them something in return? When was the last time you chose peace over productivity, softness over survival, and still felt like you were enough? For most of us, the answer is rarely or never. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind. We celebrate the person who works the longest hours, sacrifices the most sleep, and pushes through pain with a smile. We have been taught that struggle is the only proof of strength, that if it does not hurt, it does not count. That rest is something you earn after you have given everything you have, and even then, it comes with a side of guilt. But here is what Tasha Watlington reminded me during our conversation. And here is what I need you to hear today. Peace is not a surrender. Rest is not a weakness. And choosing to protect your emotional, mental, and spiritual well being is not giving up. It is the most strategic, most courageous, most revolutionary decision you can make. Let me say that again. Peace is a strategy, not a surrender. This is especially true for Black women. For generations, Black women have been expected to be superhuman, to lead without complaint, to nurture without needing, to show up for everyone else while quietly carrying their own pain. The culture has told us that our value is tied to our endurance, that our worth is measured by how much we can withstand. And so we have learned to wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. We have learned to say yes when we mean no. We have learned to give until we are empty and then give some more. But what happens when the cape gets too heavy? What happens when survival mode becomes the only mode we know? What happens when we forget that we were not put on this earth just to endure, but to live? Tasha shared a framework during our interview that stopped me in my tracks. She calls it the soft girl era, and it is not what you think. This is not about aesthetics. This is not about pastel colors or Pinterest boards. This is about a fundamental shift in how we define strength. It is about learning to receive praise, recognition, love, support, and peace without shrinking, without feeling unworthy, without immediately deflecting or downplaying or proving that we deserve it. In one of the episodes of This Is Healing podcast, Tasha described the soft girl era as a healing framework, a way of putting the armor down and trusting that softness is not weakness. It is trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the people around you. Trust that you do not have to fight every battle to prove you belong. The central challenge, she explained, is survival mode thinking. It is the belief that your worth is tied to your hustle, that you must constantly overgive, overperform, and overprove in order to be seen, valued, or loved. It is the emotional armor we wear because we have been hurt before and we are terrified of being hurt again. But here's the truth: that armor is exhausting, and it is keeping you from the very thing you are working so hard to achieve, which is freedom. The strategy Tasha offers is simple, but not easy. Accept rest, view softness as strength, learn to receive without guilt. The outcome: greater emotional freedom, a more sustainable relationship with success, a life where you are not just surviving, but fully, deeply, joyfully living. This is not just theory, this is real. This is happening right now in the lives of women who are choosing to step into their soft girl era, who are choosing peace over performance, who are choosing to finally live instead of only survive. Think about this for a moment. How many of us have been conditioned to believe that needing help makes us weak, that accepting support means we owe someone something, that rest is something we have to earn, and even then it comes with guilt? We keep the armor on. We keep saying yes when we mean no. We keep giving until we are empty. We keep proving and performing and pushing because that is what we know. That is what feels safe. But what if I told you that the armor is not protecting you? What if I told you that it is actually keeping you from the very thing you are longing for, which is connection, peace, joy, and freedom? Let me give you another example. In a public conversation involving Tessica Brown and Tasha K, there was a moment that cut straight to the heart of what so many Black women carry. The conversation touched on how Black women have historically been told they were ugly without hair, without makeup, without conforming to beauty standards that were never designed with them in mind. The challenge is clear: the pressure to perform, to look a certain way, to meet external expectations in order to be seen as acceptable or worthy. But the broader lesson is this: your dignity and your worth are not dependent on performance, they are not dependent on styling. They are not dependent on meeting someone else's standard of beauty, productivity, or strength. You are worthy because you exist. Full stop. This matters because it connects personal healing to collective empowerment. It reminds us that the narratives we have internalized, the ones that tell us we are not enough unless we are doing more, are not our narratives. They were handed to us, and we have the power to hand them back. Now, let me take this a step further. In another episode of This Is Healing podcast, the conversation centered on softness as learning to receive praise, recognition, love, support, and peace without shrinking. The main obstacle: imposter syndrome, the habit of proving worth through nonstop effort, the fear that if you stop even for a moment, everything will fall apart. The approach offered is intentional rest, gratitude without guilt, allowing help instead of resisting it. The outcome is a more balanced life, a life where you know when to push and when to receive, where you can lead with excellence without burning out, where you can be ambitious and still rest, where you can be independent and still receive help, where you can have boundaries and still have a soft heart. This is the move from surviving to living, and it is available to you right now. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because the truth is, most of us are terrified of softness. We are terrified of rest. We are terrified of receiving because we have been conditioned to believe that needing help makes us weak. So we keep the armor on. We keep saying yes when we mean no. We keep giving until we are empty. We keep proving and performing and pushing because that is what we know. That is what feels safe. But what if I told you that you do not have to earn gentleness? That receiving support, praise, help, and love without guilt is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of healthy growth. That you can be ambitious without being in survival mode, that you can build, lead, and succeed while also resting, healing, and protecting your peace. This is the shift. This is the revolution. This is what Tasha Watlington is teaching. And this is what the soft girl era is all about. It is about choosing peace after experiencing chaos. It is about choosing self love after doubting yourself. It is about choosing hope when it would have been easier to give up. It is about recognizing that your trauma may be part of your story, but it will never be the ending of your story. And here's the most important part: this is not just for you, this is for everyone who is watching you. This is for your children, your team, your community, because when you choose to rest, you give others permission to rest. When you choose to receive, you give others permission to receive. When you choose to protect your peace, you give others permission to do the same. You are not just changing your life, you are changing the culture. So let me ask you again: what part of your life are you still carrying as if struggle is the only proof of strength? What role, what mask, what responsibility are you holding on to because you are afraid of what will happen if you let it go? And what would change if you gave yourself permission to choose peace, to receive support, and to finally live instead of only survive? Because here is the truth: you do not have to wait until you are burned out to rest. You do not have to wait until you are broken to heal. You do not have to wait until you have nothing left to give before you start receiving. You can choose softness right now. You can choose peace right now. You can choose to live right now. And when you do, you will discover something extraordinary. You will discover that softness is not weakness, it is power. It is trust. It is the most radical, most courageous act of self love you can offer yourself. Think about the woman who has spent her entire life holding everything together. She is the one everyone calls when things fall apart. She is the one who shows up, no questions asked. She is the one who sacrifices her own needs, her own dreams, her own peace, because she believes that is what love looks like. That is what strength looks like. That is what being a good woman looks like. But what if love also looked like boundaries? What if strength also looked like rest? What if being a good woman also meant being good to yourself? This is not selfish. This is survival. This is sanity. This is the difference between living and merely existing. And here's what I know to be true: the world does not need another exhausted woman. The world does not need another woman running on empty, pretending she is fine, holding it all together while quietly falling apart. The world needs women who are whole, women who are rested, women who are free, women who have chosen themselves and in doing so have given everyone else permission to do the same. So here is my challenge to you. I want you to think about one thing, just one thing, that you are still carrying as if struggle is the only proof of strength. Maybe it is a role you have outgrown. Maybe it is a relationship that drains you. Maybe it is a belief that you are not enough unless you are doing more. Whatever it is, I want you to name it. And then I want you to ask yourself this question: what would change if I let this go? What would change if you chose peace? What would change if you chose rest? What would change if you chose to receive without guilt, to rest without explanation, to live without apology? Because here's the truth: you do not have to earn gentleness. You do not have to prove that you deserve peace. You do not have to wait until you are broken before you start healing. You can choose softness right now. You can choose peace right now. You can choose to live right now. And when you do, you will discover that softness is not weakness, it is power, it is trust. It is the most radical, most courageous act of self love you can offer yourself. So I want to leave you with this: peace is a strategy, not a surrender. You do not have to earn gentleness. And you can be ambitious without being in survival mode. You can build, lead, and succeed while also resting, healing, and protecting your peace. That is the move from simply surviving to fully living. Now, here's what I need you to do. I need you to stop waiting for permission. I need you to stop waiting for the right time. I need you to stop waiting until you have nothing left before you finally choose yourself, because the right time is now. The permission is yours to give. And the life you are waiting for, the one where you are rested, whole, and free, that life starts the moment you decide that you are worth it. So decide. Decide right now that you are done carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Decide that you are done proving your worth through exhaustion. Decide that you are done sacrificing your peace for someone else's comfort. Decide that you are going to rest, that you are going to receive, that you are going to live, and then watch what happens. Watch how your life changes. Watch how your relationships deepen. Watch how your work becomes more meaningful. Watch how your joy returns. Because when you choose peace, you do not lose your strength. You reclaim it. When you choose rest, you do not lose your ambition. You sustain it. When you choose softness, you do not lose your edge. You sharpen it. This is the revolution. This is the shift. This is the soft girl era. And it starts with you right here, right now. So I am asking you one more time, what part of your life are you still carrying as if struggle is the only proof of strength? And what would change if you gave yourself permission to choose peace, receive support, and finally live instead of only survive? Do not just think about it, do something about it today, right now, because your peace is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Your rest is not a reward, it is a right. Your softness is not a weakness, it is your power. So choose it. Choose peace. Choose rest. Choose softness. Choose yourself. And when you do, you will discover that the life you have been working so hard to build, the life you have been sacrificing for, the life you have been waiting for, has been waiting for you all along. Uh, Thank you.